Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Cutter Top 10 sports video. And today we're going to be talking about the top 10 Masters moments of all time. I'm sorry I don't have a green shirt or anything resembling green. That's not really my color, but this will have to do. So anyway, let's talk about some great Masters moments in history and all that. First off, we start at number 10 is Greg Norman's massive choke in 1996. Greg Norman was a very good golfer. However, he was known for choking leads in the majors. In 1986, in fact, he had the 54-hole lead, or the lead after 3 rounds, in all 4 majors: the Masters, the U.S. Open, the PGA Championship, and the Open. But Norman choked all but one. He won the Open in 96, or the British Open, as some people say, in 86. Greg Norman then lost the Masters in 1987 to Larry Mize, who is on this list. But nothing was worse than 1996 when you have a 6-stroke lead after 54 holes in a major. It's almost all but over. Unfortunately, Norman made some risky shots and the ball just couldn't get his way out of the water, and he made some tough putts but couldn't do it. Whereas Nick Faldo came freaking out of nowhere to beat Greg Norman, his playing partner, on the final day. But yeah, Greg Norman choking a 6-stroke lead just as a worth. Number 9 is Jordan Spieth's dominance in 2015. Of course, 2016 was when he made a massive choke. He was up by 3 strokes on the back 9, but nevertheless, we're talking about how he won. He went wire to wire. I mean, he was the leader through the first round, second round, third round, fourth round. He had poise play, youthful confidence, and basically he knew what he was doing. Spieth did his job, tied Tiger Woods' mark for the best Masters mark at 18 under par, wire to wire, post to post, with butter and toast. So Spieth knew what he was doing. Number 8 is Adam Scott winning the Masters in 2013. Adam Scott was a great player and a great Aussie too. Of course, no Australian had won the Masters, even though Greg Norman had a chance. Bruce Crampton had a chance. I would say Bruce Devlin. I don't think he was Australian, but anyway, Adam Scott did it with his long putter, which at times got banned, but Adam Scott did it. He won the Masters, gaining Australian golf a victory it deserved. Number 7 is Ben Crenshaw winning his second Masters in 1995. Few moments are as emotional as Ben Crenshaw's in 1995. Ironically enough, just days before the Masters, he was a pallbearer at his mentor Harvey Penick's funeral. Harvey Penick was a great swing coach and who helped Crenshaw around. Crenshaw won the 1984 Masters, and then in 1995, seemingly out of nowhere, Crenshaw captured his second title. He made the putt, and then the emotional scene of him hunched over, crying and just shaking his head, as it was huge. Gentle Ben was known for his poise and all that, but nothing could beat, what he did in 1995. He credited Pennick's guidance for his performance, and that's amazing. Number 6 is Larry Mize winning the 1987 Masters. Larry Mize came from Augusta, Georgia. It's almost impossible for a hometown favorite to win a major and all that, but Larry Mize wanted it. On the second playoff hole in a playoff with Greg Norman and Seve Ballesteros, Mize had an impossible chip, so he decided the chip to come close to the green and maybe force another playoff hole. So Mize took care of things. He chipped it up and it bounced all the way. How does that look? Oh, words do not do justice to the beauty of that shot, as the commentator said. Larry Mize did it. It wasn't over. Greg Norman had to make his putt to force another playoff hole, but he failed. Larry Mize won. And it was like, what the heck? Of course, one Masters moment that did not make the top 10 is Mike Weir winning in 2003 for Canada. Anyway, number 5 is Bubba Watson's miracle hook in 2012. Bubba Watson was pretty good for America and all that. He went to the playoff against Louis Oosthuizen. And on the 10th hole, where the first playoff was, Bubba Watson hooked it deep into the trees. A lot of people thought he would just have to pitch it out and then work from there. But Bubba saw something. He hooked his wedge shot. It was a massive hook, and it bounced onto the green and set up a par putt to win the Masters. And Jim Nance of CBS put it eloquently. Said, and a Watson has won the Masters, and his name is Bubba. Number 4 is Gene Sarazen shot her around the world in 1935. Gene Sarazen was a legend. This was only the second Masters, as the Masters is the youngest of the 4 majors. The U.S. Open's been around since the 1900s. The U.S. PGA Championship has been around, I think, since the 1920s, and the British Open since the 1860s. But anyway, Sarazen on the second Masters ever. On the par 5 15th, he managed to hole a shot, put it in the cup for an albatross, double eagle. Put him in a tie, and he went into the playoff. It elevated the Masters status and all that, obviously during the height of the Depression. So yeah, Gene Sarazen, yeah, double eagle. Also to note, there have been a few other double eagles in Masters history. Oosthuizen on 11 in 2011 made a shot on, I think, on the second hole, and then David Faraday says double eagle, albatross, whatever you call it. It went in. Number 3 is Phil Mickelson winning the Masters in 2004. He's won another one since, but anyway, Phil Mickelson was known for his years of near misses, not just at the Masters, but at every major, the PGA, the US Open, and the British Open. The US Open, in his history, he painfully has been runner-up 5 times without winning it, including 1999 when Payne Stewart made a difficult shot to beat Mr. Mickelson. So he had a dramatic birdie putt on 18, and his exuberant leap captured the emotion of a long way to triumph and endeared with fans everywhere, and especially the golf commentators, that he finally did it. And no, he was not the first lefty to win the Masters or a major. As I said in my top 10 Canadian golfers, Bob Charles in 1963 won the British Open. He was the first lefty to do it. And for 4 decades, that was the only good thing about Bob Charles. Until Mike Weir won the Masters. Then Mickelson won. Number 2 is the great final charge of the Golden Bear, Jack Nicklaus, in 1986. In 1986, Jack Nicklaus was 46 years old, past his prime as a scene. Although he was a legendary golfer and all that, everyone knew that. But the Golden Bear had a trick up his sleeve. He had a great back 9 and all that. He would make a tricky birdie on 15. And Ben Wright of CBS says, "Yes, sir." And then on 16, in the famous par 3, he made a good tee shot. It rolled within like 10 feet. He made that birdie. And on 17, he made birdie again, leading Fern Lundquist to say, "Maybe." "Yes, sir." And then Jim Nance said, the Golden Bear is out of hibernation. So he won it. He is still the oldest Masters champion. And number 1, by a long shot, Tiger in 1997. Although 2005 was a great moment with that famous chip that the ball seemingly was going to be on the lip, but then the Nike logo goes ever so slowly. In fact, I actually missed that. I was watching the Masters, but I was told by my brother to go get some stuff at the grocery store, so I did. But anyway, Tiger did that, and I missed that chip in. Also, 2019, when Tiger came back after so much personal drama, injuries, and of course, the famous fallout with Elin Nordgren because of his mistresses. Nevertheless, Tiger in 97 was big. This was his first Masters as a professional. He competed a couple times as an amateur, but he was a professional because in mid 96 he became pro. And then at 21 years old, just 21, Tiger put up a performance. It wasn't just that he won the Masters, which was great. He won it by 12 freaking strokes. That is hard to believe. Largest margin in Masters history, but not in majors history because remember, Tiger actually had a 15-stroke win at the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach in 2000 when she was the only golfer to break par. So yeah, it signaled in a new era of golf, inspired millions worldwide, and of course was easy TV watching because it's Tiger freaking Woods. So he knew he had the world in the palm of his hand. Also to note that Tiger actually had a Grand Slam, the counter, not the counter Grand Slam, but a Grand Slam. Because at one time he was the winner of the four majors at the same time. So that's just pure imagination. Anyway, I'm going to do.